Am I the asshole? For refusing to use my sister's dead name for my baby? Hello, throwaway account because my husband knows my main one. I am currently 6 months pregnant. My husband and I have been married for 3 years and 2 prior. Ever since we started trying for kids, which was almost a year ago, he's been completely set on naming his first son after his favorite uncle, Lucas' fake name. When he first told me about this, I vetoed the name several times. However, he kept bringing it up and saying I didn't have a choice here as I knew how important his uncle was to him. 2 weeks ago, we found out we're having an issue is that Lucas is my sister's 31 old name. My sister is my best friend, and has been my rock throughout my entire life. I was the first person she ever came out to, and I was there during her first therapy session. She asked me to be there as she was nervous and needed a hand to hold. To say I respect and admire everything she's overcome is an understatement. When I told my sister about my husband's choice of name, she broke down in front of me, begging me to not let him use that. A bit of context: my sister hated her old name. She said it reminded her of how constricted her life was and how she was being forced to be someone she wasn't. Our parents weren't accepting of her, so even after she changed her name, they would constantly call her Lucas. She said if we used that name, she wouldn't be able to look at her nephew in the light she wants to. I've told my husband the exact reason why I didn't want to name our son Lucas, and his response was that my sister can't keep us from using a name she isn't using anymore. Although I agree with half of that, I would hate for my sister to dislike my son because of his name. I've offered several other names that are similar, but my husband says it's not the same. He's calling me selfish and an asshole for keeping this opportunity from him. Am I the asshole? For not wanting to use my sister's old name for our son? Edit forgot reasoning. My husband thinks I'm the asshole for keeping him from naming our son after his uncle. However, I don't want to upset my sister or remind her of any past trauma, as well as I don't want her to hate or dislike my son because of his name. I feel like this might make me the asshole because I know how important my husband's uncle was to him. Not the asshole. You vetoed the name before you were even pregnant. He was banking on being able to change your mind, and is in the process of attempting to do that. It's also fucking weird for him to say you wouldn't have any choice in naming your own child. A reasonable compromise would be perhaps giving your son his uncle's middle name. I've already posted my suggestion ruling. But I had another idea. Maybe approach it in the terms of you want to name my son, yes, my son Lucas, but Lucas is the name of my dead brother. I don't want to think of my dead brother every time I call for my son or tell someone what my son's name is. You may be okay with making me feel like shit just so you can say he's named after your uncle, but I will not be reminded of my dead brother every time I think of my son. You don't get to force me to name my son after my dead brother. Not the asshole. Remember, naming a child is a 2 yes 1 no scenario. You have told your husband no, and the reason why that name is now vetoed. Time to choose a name you both agree on. Naming a child requires a yes from both sides. A yes from one side doesn't overrule a no from the other side. When no agreement can be reached, my gut feeling is that the body in which the fetus is growing has the last word. Not the asshole at all. You have tried to compromise with your husband multiple times and ways, but he is absolutely unwilling to do the same for you. Not the asshole. I get that his uncle is important to him, but your sister is important to you. Besides, regardless of any reasoning, you should have a say in naming your child. He should not try to force a name you don't want. He kept bringing it up and saying I didn't have a choice here. Excuse me? Why is he talking like the baby doesn't come out of you? The thing with your sister is OFC very important, but my point is that first and foremost you are the mother of this baby, so you absolutely have a choice. Not the asshole, but your husband is, because you not having a say implies that you are nothing but a vessel and you don't have the right to decide. He needs to dial down the entitlement. Not the asshole because you don't have to name your kids what you don't want to name them. Reason not required, relieved face. Why are you even married to him if he'll always be second place? The fact that no one is commenting on this is surprising. You guys have way more issues to deal with than a baby name. I was married to a man who thought it was acceptable to fill out my newborn son's birth certificate while I was resting sleeping after giving birth using an alphabet soup of a name that I did not want. I did not find out he had filled out the paperwork until we were leaving the hospital. I couldn't change it. It marked the beginning of the end of that marriage. I hope OP has a better experience than I. Natar. Does his uncle have a middle name? There are lots of ways to honor his uncle. Not the asshole. I was going to go no a hole because the husband's reasoning is understandable, but if he's still pressing the issue daily and B will not accept any of the compromises brought forward that I think are reasonable, then he's become the asshole in the situation. Your trauma bond with your sister is another issue you gotta work out. If her and your husband aren't at least equal in your eyes, I don't think that bodes well for your marriage. Not the asshole. This is a good hill to die on, Op, and it's a sign of your husband's lack of empathy that he keeps pushing for this name. I'm stunned by the amount of people in the comments saying the best way for OP to make up for putting her sister first is to do something to deliberately hurt her. Not the asshole. Could you suggest using uncle's middle name? What was the uncle's middle name? Unless it's something really old-fashioned, your husband could go for that instead. Not the asshole. You vetoed the name early on and gave your hard limit reasons. Could you compromise on the uncle's middle name? The rule of thumb when naming a child is 1 no, number 2 yes yes. You said no. The name is dead in the water and your husband is going to have to deal with that. Just like you would if he vetoed a name you liked. Not the asshole. Your husband is though. Not the asshole. It's 2 yeses or it's a no. You said no, so that is his answer. You could simply hate the name and that is still valid. Why does his uncle get precedence over your sister? Not the asshole. A child's name is a negotiation, compromise, and agreement process. He cannot dictate a name that your child may have forever, for whatever reason. You are a team, you are equals, tell him to behave like it. Not the asshole. You are right to support your sister, but beyond that, each parent should have a veto on any name for any reason. So even if it weren't your sister's dead name, you would still be not the asshole. I can already see where this is headed. Good luck in the future. Here is another example of the 2 yeses or it's a no scenario. It's not happening. Tell your hubby it can be a middle name but not a first name. Go so far as to tell the entire nursing staff that the name is not to be written in the document box under first name, and if it is to be shredded. Not the asshole. Hill to die on. Not the asshole. You shouldn't honor a dead family member at the expense of a living family member. Nota, you should be naming the child something that you both like to begin with. Telling you that you don't have a choice when you're literally doing all the hard work is a red flag. Also, the fact that he clearly doesn't care about your sister's trauma is gross. Not the asshole. Your husband is TA for being so utterly unwilling to compromise. Middle name is the perfect solution and I cannot understand why he's so dogged about something that's clearly distressing you. Is he a dick about other things or is this a one-off? How about Vanya? Or of course, John, which is the English version. Nah, but this will probably end in divorce since neither party will concede. Not the asshole. Your position is that your child cannot have one specific name. His is that he must have one specific name. These positions are in no way equal. Can you propose to honor his uncle in a different way, maybe planting a tree that your child can play under as they grow? Maybe also point out that your uncle probably wouldn't want to be upsetting another member of your child's family with dishonor, and in the process damage a living relationship before it's even started. Each of you should be able to veto any names. Otherwise it is very strange that you can't insist on some other name.